Hey, and welcome back. Time to play some Soul Reaver 2. Check. Now, while I have my issues with Soul Reaver 2 as a game, it is the best story in the Legacy of Kain series, in my humble opinion. So this time for the coin, we are going to do something a little different. Like in Soul Reaver 1, we're going to do one coin flip that's going to determine the course of our entire playthrough. So Kain's symbol on one side, and Raziel's on the other. If it lands on Kain, we're going to meticulously go and kill every human we can. And because we're Raziel, we're going to eat their souls. If it's Raziel, however, we're going to do something special. So we're going to do what I'm going to call the Platinum Challenge. We're going to do a single playthrough where we get every single trophy. Now, I've been training, I've been working, and I've been testing, and I'm ready for this. So let's flip our coin and see how it falls. And it's Raziel. Awesome. So that means we're going to do the Platinum Challenge. We're going to do a single playthrough of the game on PS4, and we are going to get every single trophy in a one playthrough, including the Platinum, which you can't get on PS5 because, dumbly, it considers it to be DLC. Okay, let's get started. Now, I love that they went back to this scene because this is still one of my very, very favorite dialogue scenes of any game ever.
Tell me, did it trouble you to murder your brothers?
Did it trouble you when you ordered me into the abyss?
Being honest, it didn't upscale terribly well. And I do love that the actors got another crack at it. And I'll say a little bit more why in a moment.
To know the future, Raziel.
But I prefer the voice acting in the other version better.
As a man,
but one thing I do like about this is that Simon played this character much more as the far-sighted, intelligent manipulator than kind of the more mustache-twirling villain that he kind of played in Soul Reaver 1.
Are we not indivisible? As long as a single one of us stands, we are legion.
The scene is cut down some, but that's okay, because this dialogue is still so good. I love it so much.
We each play out the parts fate has written for us. Free will is an illusion.
I agree with that. Most of the time.
I found the tomb of Saraphan, Kain. How could you profane a priest by turning him into a vampire?
How could I know?
A lot more action in this scene, of course, because, you know, it's fully CG and they don't have to do it in-engine.
Even closer.
Love it.
Who better to serve me than those whose passion transcends all notions of good and evil?
The Saraphan were saviors, defending Nazgul from the corruption that we represent.
Ah, Raziel.
My eyes are open, Kain. I find no nobility in the unlife you rudely forced on my unwilling corpse.
You may have uncovered your past, but you know nothing of it. You think the Saraphan were noble, altruistic? Oh, don't be simple. Their agenda was the same as ours.
Instead of getting to use his energy to move the dials, they're making him do it by hand. I mean, come on. He's Kain. He doesn't need to do manual labor.
You nearly had me, Raziel. But this is not where or how it ends. Fate promises more twists before this drama unfolds.
Especially that line. I like the delivery of that line a lot better than in the original. Yes, I have opinions on every single voice line. I'm a VO director, okay? That's what I do. Among other things. Just jump on in there. What could go wrong?
Raziel, Redeemer and Destroyer, Pawn and Messiah. Welcome, time-span soul. Welcome to your destiny.
He looks trustworthy.
Where am I? Is the usual question. In your case, when might be more apt.
Oh, Mobius.
Very well, you old snake. If you'd prefer I use my bare hands...
This is completely unexpected. This orb disables our vampire enemies, leaving them helpless and incapacitated. Strangely, it seems to have the same effect on that peculiar weapon of yours.
A total accident,
but
I swear.
You must believe me. I mean you no harm.
You can drop the benevolent facade, Mobius. I know who and what you are. I should kill you where you stand.
Problem solved, series over.
Perhaps you should, my boy. But you don't.
Are you so certain of that, Mobius?
My role as Time Guardian affords me a certain level of omniscience, Raziel. No, you don't kill me. That honor belongs to your maker, Kain, some 30 years from now.
Ah, you two are a pair. You're just as fatalistic as he is.
Death comes for us all, Raziel. It's just a matter of time.
How is it that you know my name? We have never met.
On the contrary, Raziel, I know you very well. And it grieves me to see how cruelly Kain has used you. I knew you when you were one of the Saraphan Brotherhood, Raziel. We were even close.
Oh, please.
Fortunately, you need not love me now to be my ally.
We'll talk about what that means in a minute.
Are we within the stronghold of the Saraphan priesthood?
Yes, but the glorious days of the Saraphan have long since passed, I'm afraid. This is a more cynical and indecorous age.
Indeed it is.
My mercenary army now inhabits this stronghold. We strive to honor the memory of the Saraphan with our own humble crusade.
Is this the vampire Voridor?
Voridor. Yes. The scourge of the circle, the most depraved and decadent example of his whole degenerate race. He slaughtered 6 of my fellow guardians as they cowered defenseless in this room.
And you somehow survived this massacre?
I and 2 others. The circle was devastated. Only we 3 were spared.
How convenient.
That would be Mobius, Malik, and
You'll forgive me if I
Mortanius.
don't naively devour every scrap of information you toss me.
Good Raziel.
You have a reputation for deceit.
And who has slandered me so? Your malefactor, Kain? The one who betrayed and destroyed you? Our common enemy? Consider the source before you judge me too harshly. We'll forget about rekindling our old friendship then. But consider an alliance based on our common ground. We both want Kain dead. I can help you do it.
You don't want to meddle in this, old man. I know all about your sordid little schemes, but you're simply out of your depth on this one.
You underestimate me, Raziel. Let me show you. Even now, Kain is lying in wait for you, unaware that I've snatched you out of the time stream and brought you here to me. See how he lingers at the very pillars he is destined to destroy, foolishly confident that he has eluded your grasp.
The pillars are still standing in this time.
Yes, Raziel. They are the embodiment of the divine force which preserves the life of our world. We who serve the pillars maintain their delicate balance, and Kain is destined to be the fulcrum upon which that balance turns. I believe you have already endured the wasteland wrought by his terrible, selfish decision.
So
Kain's very
selfish.
existence is a cancer upon this world. As long as he lives, all of Nosgoth is in peril. You may never again be human, Raziel. But you can re-embrace the essence of your humanity and the nobility of your Saraphan heritage. Go to him, Raziel, and end this. But first, you will need to find your way out of the stronghold, and in this, I'm afraid I cannot help you. My soldiers will not understand your appearance here. They will try to kill you. You needn't fear them, of course. They're no match for you. Try to keep the casualties to a minimum. But do what you have to do. All great movements require a few martyrs.
I've said it before, but that is true evil.
Alone now, I surveyed my surroundings and noticed a second time-streaming chamber. Its entrance identical to the first, but with one distinction. That crystal was significant, but how? I had not yet discovered.
Okay, so since we're doing a platinum run, we're going to get all the trophies in a single playthrough. Now, there's a few things to know. The cutscenes do run the timer, but we're not going to skip them, because skipping the cutscenes in Soul Reaver 2 is like going to a steakhouse and just ordering fries. You just, no. Because Soul Reaver 2 has the best dialogue and the best performances and the best story in the entire series. And then also, we'll stop and talk about things, because pausing does not run the timer. First off, we're going to talk about what Mobius meant when he said that he and Raziel were close. Now, obviously, he's manipulating Raziel here. I mean, that's what Mobius does. He is a master manipulator. He maybe not the master manipulator, but he is a master manipulator. So he's definitely trying to puppet Raziel here. And the line where he says, "You need not love me now to be my ally." Now, a lot of people have taken these two lines together to mean that Mobius and Raziel were lovers. Now, there's no evidence for that. There's no evidence against it either. It's certainly the most incendiary conclusion you could come to, but the way that I think about it is Mobius probably mentored the human Raziel, probably took him under his wing. All right, so we're going to get started on our platinum playthrough. First, we're going to take a quick look at these murals, because, man, they're just awesome. These are designed by our favorite concept artist, Daniel Kabuko. And like everything he's done for this series, I love it. All right, let's go explore. Clock is running. And let's turn off some of these hints off, compass off. That's how I roll. Okay, now one of the trophies that we're going to start working on right away is Finish Him. And that is a trophy for getting a kill with every unique weapon in the game. We're going to start with this big poleaxe here. Now the combat in Soul Reaver 2 is much more involved than Soul Reaver 1. You can block, you can dodge, and you have heavy attacks as well as light attacks. Now your enemies can do the same thing, so gotta be careful. Now, how are we going to get the game's most difficult trophy, which is Vampire Champion, in a single playthrough? That requires you to finish the game in under 6 hours. Now, it's not that difficult. How we're going to do that is by skipping a lot of combat. And one thing that is really effective is literally just running around poking. Because they do a lot of blocking, they have a hard time blocking the poke. And most of the time, you do not need to fight. You can just run past. Sometimes you'll be locked in, but...
Throughout the stronghold, I discovered evidence of my former nobility and my life as a Saraphan priest.
Oh,
This was
Raziel.
the heritage so foully stolen from me when Kain raided my sacred crypt and defiled me.
Now another trophy that we're going to need is to feed ourselves to eat 30 souls. So we're going to work on that as we do these, as we're trapped in. And certainly more gory than Soul Reaver 1. Which is why the original Soul Reaver 1 had a T rating and this one had an M rating. Alright, now back into the Spectral Realm.
Away from the influence of Mobius's cursed staff, I could feel the strength of the Soul Reaver slowly returning. If that orb was as debilitating to vampires as it was to the blade, it gave Mobius a powerful advantage over his enemies. I finally understood how Mobius's crusade could decimate the vampires so successfully. If he could immobilize his enemies, they were at his mercy. But why, I wondered, would the staff have any effect on the Reaver?
Why indeed? Okay, running around swinging wildly is actually a pretty good strategy when you're outnumbered. Nice, and there's our first trophy. That's for kicking a human into the air. And you do want to try to get at least one kill with your claws. It is pretty cool. Now the Reaver does behave a little differently right now. In most of the game it behaves differently, but in this one it only right now it only manifests at full strength. And it's kind of lackluster when it gets a kill. That's going to change soon.
As I neared the stronghold's inner sanctum, a strange sensation crept over me. An indescribable feeling of displacement, a sense of vertigo, as reality itself appeared to warp and bend around me. The disturbance seemed to emanate from the sanctuary's furthest chapel. As I cautiously approached,
a phenomenon that makes the whole story possible.
Intensified with each step. So this was the tomb of the beloved King William the Just, beatified here as the martyr and catalyst of Mobius's crusade. I was reminded of Kain's journey as a fledgling vampire, how Mobius coerced him to travel back in history and assassinate William, thus igniting a genocidal hatred of vampires among the citizens of Nosgoth.
Which we saw in Blood Omen 1.
And here I discovered the source of the displacement. The Soul Reaver itself, laid out like a holy relic, and broken, apparently in the battle between William and Kain. I had not thought such a thing was possible. Until, of course, Kain shattered the blade against me when he tried to strike me down. Thus, the captive spirit inhabiting the Reaver was released, and binding itself to me, became my symbiotic weapon. And so the Reaver met its former self, still imprisoned in this corporeal shell. I watched, mesmerized, as the Wraith blade uncoiled itself and snaked down the length of the physical blade. Embracing its twin, its mirror self, the Reaver's long dormant spirit was now fully aroused. And for the first time, I felt the true presence of this other entity. Willful, ravenous, and deranged from thousands of years of imprisonment. The Reaver was now in command, and I, now merely its helpless host, felt my soul being leached to restore the blade. But the Reaver knew better than to destroy its host, and just as I neared the brink of oblivion, the blade released its hold on me. As I recovered, I realized we were now bound together in a fragile alliance. The Reaver no longer merely my symbiotic weapon, but a sentient parasite competing for control.
Story and game mechanics meshing
What have
perfectly.
you done to me, Mobius? Is this your trap?
How mine? Don't forget it was Kain who led you here, not I. While you curse me, the only soul in Nosgoth ready to guide and assist you, Kain laughs at our folly and revels in your dismay.
These blades, now coiled in sinister embrace, have inspired terror in the hearts of creatures far more durable than you, old man.
I love this line.
Bound together as they are, I can only imagine what they could do to your soul's fragile shell.
Raziel,
Mobius
I beg you to
realizes
stay your
his
hand.
mistake here.
This was none of my doing. I have sought only to aid you in your righteous quest.
Are you trembling, Mobius? Has your confidence abandoned you? You seem to have made a fatal error by leaving your precious staff behind. Is that where all your courage comes from?
Listen to me, Raziel. You don't know what you're doing. I have taken an enormous risk by appearing here before you, so defenseless, yet eager to prove my good intentions. If there's anything left of the Saraphan in you, you won't do this. While you threaten me, your true enemy eludes you.
Don't concern yourself with Kain, old man. He'll join you in hell soon enough. As you said, death comes for us all.
Yes, the wheel of fate demands it.
What did you say?
The wheel of fate. The inexorable cycle of death and rebirth to which all men are compelled. We serve the same God, Raziel. To strike me down would be striking God's own attendant. And I don't believe even you would take that.
Such a clever snake.
I tire of your games, Mobius. Now that I know you fear me, I needn't concern myself with you.
Yeah.
Kain is waiting for me.
Go then, Raziel. Seek Kain out and destroy him in the name of the one God we both serve. You, who were once a Saraphan priest, murdered, profaned, destroyed, and reborn again from his mercy. You are now most powerfully equipped to be his agent, his instrument of restoration and retribution.
My own vengeance is motivation enough.
By my soul, you almost had me, my little blue assassin. But that'll be the one and only chance you get. I assure you of that.
I could now summon the blade at will, regardless of my strength. But once summoned,
Reaver
the
Convergence.
blade's ravenous appetite could not be contained.
Okay, it's story
It
related, but
devoured
whatever.
the souls of its victims, and if I allowed it to become over-aroused, the Reaver would now turn its hunger on me.
Okay, lots to talk about here. So we can see that Raziel's life has been decreased by the absorption of this second instance of the Reaver. Or maybe the Reaver being completed. Maybe it was partial. I don't know. This is what this is where Legacy of Kain starts to really get labyrinthine with its story. Which, don't get me wrong, is what I love about it. I do kind of wonder why Raziel leaves the physical Reaver behind here, but I think that's because by absorbing the soul part of the soul of William's Soul Reaver, he feels like the blade is of no further use to him. Now that he has the soul part of the Soul Reaver at full strength, it's stronger than he is. It is a sentient parasite, no longer just a weapon. So the game mechanics really, really lean into that. And I think I love when a game's mechanics support its story. And we'll see some more of that in a second. Oh, and then one more thing. Mobius did make a mistake by leaving his staff behind, but I think this was a manipulation tactic to get Raziel to trust him. He knew that if he went in there with his staff, Raziel would of course doubt whatever it was he had to say. Now, what Raziel doesn't know is just how close he was to being able to kill Mobius. And we'll talk about that more later.
So this was the legendary Janos Ordren,
Janos!
reputed to have been the most ancient and diabolical vampire to have ever existed. According to folklore, he lived high in the cliffs of Nosgoth's northern mountains and preyed mercilessly on the defenseless villages below. His reign of terror ended when the Saraphan finally hunted him down and tore his throbbing heart from his still-living body. This relic came to be known as the Heart of Darkness, and was supposedly imbued with the power to restore vampiric unlife. The Saraphan therefore guarded it carefully, lest the heart fall into the hands of their enemies. But I wondered, could Janos Ordren truly have been as monstrous as depicted here? Or was this merely artistic license by the Saraphan, who sought to lionize themselves by demonizing their darkest enemy?
Great question. Okay, so now Raziel does mention that if the Reaver becomes over-aroused, it will start to feed on him, and you can see it by that meter there. Yeah. But one thing I would say, if you're doing the Vampire Champion playthrough, don't fear the Reaver. It is your most powerful weapon by far.
Strange how my history came full circle. This chapel, I realized, was a memorial to my former Saraphan brethren and myself. All of us martyred here, and then so cruelly profaned by Kain when he imposed his gift on our noble corpses. For the first time, I beheld the image of my Saraphan self, memorialized here among my fallen comrades. It tortured me to see how noble and pure I had been, and what a vile phantasm I had become, and a profound sense of injury, of loss and betrayal welled up in me, so overwhelming I could barely contain it. All I wanted at this moment was to find Kain and destroy him.
So again, run around, swing the Reaver, and that helps helps quite a bit with crowd control. Oh, and this sound it makes when it starts getting aroused, I love it. Another thing I want to point out, the symbol on the floor here, this is the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail. And this is just such a perfect, this is the definition of a motif. And it's such a great symbol for this entire story. And we'll see more later, of course, why that's so perfect. But we gotta go, clock's running. Another comment, Malik would have been the head of the Saraphan, being the conflict guardian. He would have been the nominal head, but his day-to-day duties would have been the protection of the circle, as well as he did there. But the functional head of the Saraphan would have been his second-in-command, Raziel. So Raziel really would have been the person running things from day to day. And in the PS2 era, this was amazing.
And for the first time beheld Nosgoth in its former glory. The land overflowed with abundant life and vitality. And I knew with certainty then that the world I had left behind was nothing more than the corpse of Nosgoth, a lifeless husk.
We're gonna have to check that place out. We're gonna have to check that place out later.
Parasitic empire. This was the fragile world Kain sacrificed to preserve his own petty life and ambition, heedless of the profound cost. The sight only deepened my resolve. I sensed that the pillars lay to the northwest. If Kain truly waited to confront me there, I would not disappoint him.
But yeah, just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous area. We don't have the means to get in there yet. But in time, we might. And of course you have the ability to swim, because we did at the end of Soul Reaver 1.
As I passed this arcane landmark, a wisp of the Reaver's energy was drawn into the ring, illuminating it.
It's the Ouroboros again.
This created a beacon of sorts in the spirit world. If ever I found myself depleted in the spectral realm, and my soul tossed on the ethereal winds, these beacons would draw me back to safety and restore me.
And then, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to use our save and quit fast travel trick that we had in Soul Reaver 1. But that's okay, because Soul Reaver 2 is laid out differently, which we'll talk about a lot as we go. And the other key to Vampire Champion, to complete the game in under 6 hours, you just kind of need to know where to go. It's not like there's a ton to explore, which is one of my issues with Soul Reaver 2 as a game, but if you know where you're going, you can easily finish the game in that 6 hours. Fish! Check it out.
These ancient
Blood Omen 1
artists
style
were
saves.
mysteriously attuned to my spiritual essence. By simply touching the symbol, I could safely preserve an imprint of my soul, and thus create a milestone to which I could return when weary, and from which I could resume my journey.
All right, we will save. Now, I always say, I always touch it again just to see where we are time-wise. Okay, 23:14. Yeah, that's great. That's about where we want to be. All right.
While I had only just escaped the stronghold, I sensed that in time my journey would return me full circle to this place. Infiltrating the fortress, however, would be no small feat. The balcony that had provided my escape was now well beyond my reach, leaving this massive gateway as the only means of entry. The gates were sealed, but like the time-streaming chamber I had seen earlier, their operation was undoubtedly linked to that odd crystal mounted above the entrance.
Makes me wonder why they needed a boat gate in this little lake here. But, video games. No thank you. Alright, like I said, we're just going to skip combat for the most part. We'll smack anyone who gets in our way, but we're just going to be running from place to place. Except when we see a unique weapon, like a torch, which we have not used yet. So we're going to grab that. And this lady mercenary is, unfortunately, going to get one of the more gruesome deaths we can give. I love how the soul just went around her friends there. Nope. Okay, see these crows? We want to make a habit. We want to make a habit of disturbing them. You see how they disappear like that? Something's going on. And we're seeing lots of impaled vampires here. Also, canonically, dogs in Soul Reaver 2 have souls. And I just ate one. I'm more of a cat person anyway. Alright, so we've already used a torch. Scare more crows. You shot me.
These vampires had nothing in common with the deranged jackals I left behind in Kain's derelict empire. They seemed to retain much of their former humanity. In this era, vampires were clearly not the uncontested predators we had been. These creatures were hunted mercilessly and oppressed. And while I still believed that vampirism was a plague and had to be wiped out, there was nothing noble or righteous in this crusade. This was simply ruthless persecution.
The eyes are starting to open. So, one of my theories about the vampires in Nosgoth is that to have grown their population to such a size that they were exterminated in such numbers by the Saraphan and then Mobius's crusade here, they would have had to, rather than being simply predators, they would have had to have developed some kind of equilibrium with the human populations, whether that's through trade or whether that's through coercion or whatever. They would not have been able to live in such numbers by feeding on humans like a solitary predator would be able to. So there's more to the story than what we see
Pillars
here.
of Nosgoth, pristine, whole, and uncorrupted.
This is one of the best scenes in the whole
I had never
series.
beheld them in this undefiled state, yet something profound and indelible resonated within me at the sight. And there, waiting at the very heart of the pillars, was the canker that was destined to destroy them.
I love this little smile.
I know you're there, Raziel.
Mobius led me to you, Kain, though I might have guessed you'd meet me here.
And if Mobius told you I was hidden on the underside of hell, would you throw yourself into oblivion to pursue me? Mobius trawls for the ignorant and unwary, hauling his gasping prey from the streams of their destinies. Stay out of his net, Raziel.
Spare me your elaborate metaphors, Kain. I have pursued you here for one purpose. You will pay for your betrayal, and balance will thus be restored to Nosgoth.
And whose will is satisfied then? The will of Raziel or Mobius?
Would I be better manipulated by you, Kain? Now, turn and face me. The chase is over.
This isn't a chase, Raziel. We are merely passengers on the wheel of destiny, describing a perfect circle to this point. We've been brought here
Like the
for a
Ouroboros.
reason. I've seen the beginning and the end of our story, however, and the tale is crude and ill-conceived. We must rewrite the ending of it. You and I.
Face me, Kain. Even you shouldn't die a coward's death.
Isn't it customary to grant the condemned a final request?
I recall no such courtesy from you.
Indulge me, Raziel. All I ask is that you listen. This is the sublime moment of our undoing, Raziel. The ineffable fulcrum upon which swings the entirety of our history. This is where all of Nosgoth is betrayed. In this instant, Ariel, the Balance Guardian, is murdered by dark forces bent on overthrowing the pillars.
So
A
cool that
spirit
we
is
get to
just
see
now
this.
tearing free, lost in the ether, trying to find its way here. You have already seen how she comes to haunt these pillars.
Bound here by your refusal to die. You are the reason this land becomes diseased. As long as you remain alive, you condemn Nosgoth to an eternity of decay.
Be still, Raziel. See this. As Ariel dies, I am being born to take her place as Balance Guardian. Such is my destiny.
My God.
At the moment of my first cry, Ariel's beloved, the Guardian Nupraptor, finds her corpse. Racked with grief and tormented by suspicions of treachery, Nupraptor plunges into a madness which overflows and infects all of the Guardians who are symbiotically bound, including me. The repercussions of Ariel's assassination were expertly calculated. The entire circle descends into madness, and I am tainted at the moment of my birth, instantly rendered incapable of fulfilling the role destiny has prepared for me.
Shall I show you the same mercy you showed the rest of the circle, then? You blithely murdered them to restore their pillars, yet your hand faltered when it came to the final sacrifice. What makes you exempt, Kain? You're merely the last man standing. Why condemn me for simply carrying out what you hadn't the courage to do yourself?
Let's drop the moral posturing, shall we? We both know there's no altruism in this pursuit. Your reckless indignation led you here. I counted on it.
Love it so much.
There's no shame in it, Raziel. Revenge is motivation enough. At least it's honest. Hate me, but do it honestly.
Love that.
30 years hence, I am presented with a dilemma. Let's call it a two-sided coin. If the coin falls one way, I sacrifice myself and thus restore the pillars. But as the last surviving vampire in Nosgoth, this would mean the annihilation of our species. Mobius made sure of that. If the coin lands on the reverse, I refuse the sacrifice and thus doom the pillars to an eternity of collapse. Either way, the game is rigged.
We agree, then, that the pillars are crucial and must be restored.
Yes, Raziel. And that's why we've come full circle to this place.
So after all this, you make my case for me. To end this stalemate, you must die so that new guardians can be born.
Pillars don't belong to them, Raziel. They belong to us.
Your arrogance is boundless, Kain.
There's a third option. A monumental secret, hidden in your very presence here. But it's a secret you have to discover for yourself. Unearth your destiny, Raziel. It's all laid out for you here.
You said it yourself, Kain. There are only two sides to your coin.
Apparently so. But suppose you throw a coin enough times. Suppose one day it lands on its edge.
Nice. Okay, a few things. One, I'm still excited when I get story-related trophies, even when they're not missable. I love trophies, but if you watch a channel, you know that. Second, I've always considered any resurrection of the Legacy of Kain series to be the edge of the coin. And the fact that we have Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered, the coin landed on its edge. If we get nothing else from the series, if nothing else happens, if we don't get a sequel, if we don't get more remakes, remasters, whatever, this last year has just been an amazing time to be a fan of this series. And I still think that there's great stuff to come. Super excited for the Nosgoth Encyclopedia and, whatever Crystal Dynamics is working on right now. I'm really excited to see it. Anyway, this moment, I just think is so amazing that we get to see it. Yes, I know it's part of the series. It's been here for 25 years, but I still 23 years, to correct myself. But it's just, I still love so much how well written this story is and how it subtly twists and builds upon the lore. And it is such a dense story that it almost requires multiple times to experience it. And I love that. It's so rich. So let's move on. Okay.
I didn't know what impulse stayed my hand, why I had so willingly allowed Kain to escape me when I had pursued him for so long. I had no reason to trust Kain after he had valued me so little, and yet I found myself intrigued by his words. I had been too cruelly used to so gullibly play his pawn,
But if this world truly had secrets to divulge, I was determined to expose them.
And in case you missed that, it wants us to go to Spectral. And now we have stairs. Also, I love the additional sound design that's happened in the Spectral realm here. It's different from Soul Reaver 1. Just the echoes and the reverberation. Kurt Harlan is fucking genius. Him and Jim Hedges both. Another thing to know, the Sluagh in this game are not the pushovers they were in Soul Reaver 1.
I had the constant and palpable sensation of being watched. Someone, it seemed, was keenly interested in my presence here.
It's Odin! Wait, wrong thing.
From the look of it, this door had been sealed for centuries. I began to realize it was no mere coincidence that I found myself standing here, beneath this winged figure with blue skin and cloven hands so like my own, and bearing this unique key.
And holding 2 Ouroboroses.
And so it was with a sense of gravity and trepidation that I unsealed that ancient door and crossed the threshold.
I love that phrase, with a sense of gravity and trepidation. So one thing I would love to do someday is I would love the opportunity to sit down and ask Amy Hennig about her writing process. Like, uh-oh. Something's gonna happen. But how she writes her dialogue, what inspires her. She's on record with certain interviews, but I'd love to kind of talk to her more about what it's like to sit down and write this rich dialogue.
As I entered the chamber, I sensed that it had been sealed for hundreds, perhaps thousands of years. And while this room was clearly built when the pillars were erected, I knew that no human hand could have shaped this place, and that perhaps it had never been seen by human eyes. The surrounding murals depicted a winged race, their features so like my own, but beautiful, where mine were grotesque, and angelic, while mine were demonic. I tried to decipher these images. A great war, but with combatants like none I had ever seen. The pillars, raised by this winged race, who thus defeated their adversaries. The winged beings again, writhing in agony, apparently afflicted with the same bloodthirst I had so recently suffered. And throughout the chamber, inscribed everywhere, images of the Reaver itself. Was this what Kain had urged me to discover? I wondered.
Lies, Raziel.
Oh, he's back.
Do not be deceived.
My ancient benefactor. And I dared to hope we had parted ways forever. The silence was refreshing, but at last...
Sassy Raz is the best
No doubt
Raz.
you have a conveniently inexpressible reason for your presence here.
Do not be insolent, Raziel. I am eternally present here and everywhere, now and always. I am the still center of the turning wheel, the hub of this world's destiny.
But perhaps not so omnipotent as you'd have me believe. Your hold on me appears to be tenuous. I no longer seem to need you. Yet I'm guessing you still need me.
This impudence is unworthy of you, Raziel. Do not forget that you have a task to fulfill here. You are indebted to me.
Indebted? You would have me show gratitude for a gift I didn't ask to be bestowed. Do you forget that you forced me to inhabit this vile carcass?
He didn't ask to be reborn.
Raziel. It was Kain who destroyed you. The very enemy you've just let slip through your grasp. Do not fail me, my servant.
I serve no one. Not you, not Kain, and not your lackey Mobius.
Mobius is my good servant. I have many.
And if I tell Mobius that he's worshipping a giant squid, do you think his faith will falter?
That'll pay off later.
You have grown willful, Raziel. But beware. To embrace a serpent is to invite poison into your heart.
Like Mobius.
Kain is a sinuous beast. He will seduce and deceive you. You pride yourself on your free will, yet you let that degenerate deter your resolve.
I harbor no illusions about his integrity, nor anyone else's. In fact, I am beset by manipulation on all sides. I merely seek the truth.
These are the fathomless truths, Raziel. The agony of birth and death and rebirth. This is the wheel of fate, the purifying cycle which sustains all life. Vampires are an abomination, a plague which leeches this land of its spiritual strength. They obstruct the flow of life and death. Their souls stagnate in their wretched corpses. But the wheel must turn. Death is inexorable and cannot be denied. Your destiny is irresistible, Raziel. You are my soul reaver, the scourge of the vampires, reaper of their apostate souls. Remain steadfast, end the vampire's parasitic curse, and restore Nosgoth. Kain's blood belongs on your hands.
Kain indeed deserves to die for condemning me to this repugnant form, but if and when I kill him, it will be for me alone to decide.
Kain destroyed you without a flicker of remorse. He tore the soul from your noble corpse, and after you had served him faithfully for 1,000 years, he discarded you in the abyss on a jealous whim. Remember your rage, Raziel. Let it guide your hand.
Ah, so manipulative. But yeah, definitely more to the story than what the Elder God is saying here, which is obvious. Let's see, check how we're doing on time. Looking good. Okay, so I want to show you something before we go down there. See all the symbols here? Some of them are Reavers that we will get in this game, but some of them are not. Like water, spirit, and earth. Okay, now this is a great place to get the Not Without Purpose 2 trophy. So what we'll do is we'll go Spectral, and then glide, hold R1, and just float all the way down. Now to get this trophy, you just have to glide for 25 or 30 seconds, I can't remember which one, without touching the ground. As long as you hold down R1 and go slow.
Your destiny beckons.
Yes, well, I'm filming. She knows that. There we go. Not Without Purpose 2. And then we can antagonize the Elder God a little bit while our... Nope. Okay. And he's usually got souls down here to eat, so... Okay. Now this this cavern, we're gonna see a lot. So learning how to navigate it is not a bad idea. And we have this statue here. As far as I know, represents the Elder God itself. So yeah, right now the cavern is the easiest it's ever going to be to navigate. So we'll just want to try to remember the general layout, but every time we return, it is going to be a little bit more difficult. Nope. This brings us out to... I recognize that. The Ignis Fatuus. Lights the path to hell.
I surfaced
Your
into a
path,
very different
nobleman.
landscape. The daylight barely penetrated the dense canopy of this forest. Here I discovered an ancient ruin, unmistakably one of Mobius's time-streaming chambers, but long ago sealed and abandoned to the encroaching swamp. I didn't currently possess the means to break this seal, but I thought in time that I might.
Alright. So, in the Termagant Forest here, aka the swamp, you want to be careful not to... not to trudge through the water. You'll lose a lot of time that way. Also, for fun, if you click L2 and L3, or sorry, L3 and R3, you can fly around the environment a little bit. And we can see this is going to be an important thing. So we're gonna head straight over there. Voridor.
So, my lurking observer was exposed. The creature vanished when he realized he was discovered. But I caught a glimpse of him, and his features were distinctive enough. This was the vampire Voridor, the monstrous assassin depicted in the stronghold. Strange that a creature brazen enough to assault the circle single-handedly would avoid confronting me. Very well. If Voridor would not come to me, I would go to him. But first, I needed to find some means of reaching that terrace.
Just wander around the swamp. Okay, we'll quit horsing around there. Yep. Out of my way, please. Thank you. Alright, we'll go save. Let's see, check time. Looking pretty good so far. Yep. Yep. Frog. Frog's just trying to steal the scene from Raziel
There
there.
appeared to be a passage here, leading northward into the mountains. The opening, however, was obstructed and too high for me to reach. Perhaps later I would find the means to bypass these obstacles.
No, thank you.
My lurking friend was nowhere to be seen, but I found these ruins even more intriguing. I recognized these arcane symbols from the chamber beneath the pillars, and realized that this shrine, too, was sealed to all but the bearer of the Reaver.
Okay, there's a trophy we can get here and only here. And that is to scare the crows. So we're gonna scare the crows. Yay, there we go. Okay. Now let's enter the first, technically the second, if you count Fireforge in SR1, of many Reaver Forges we will now be doing. This is a thrall. Now, these forges are going to have unique weapons that we're going to want to pay attention to for our Finish Him trophy. But these thralls are usually going to have an item that we need to progress. And if you're trapped in there with one, you usually don't need to fight all the thralls. If you kill the greater thrall, you can usually get out and be done. And again, the Sluagh are much tough. Jeez. Case in point, they are much tougher than they were in Soul Reaver 1. Okay, another thing about Soul Reaver 2. Look for hints in artwork. We'll see the Spectral Realm symbol all over the place, but there's more than that. So we'll keep an eye out. We'll show you a few hints that you can look for. And another thing that I want to say is Soul Reaver 2 has the best puzzles. Liberated from the tyranny of only being able to use blocks for puzzles, they got really inventive in Soul Reaver 2, and I love some of the stuff they do in this game. All right, I'm gonna need that sword. Thank you.
Throughout this ancient shrine, murals depicted the winged race, and the apocalyptic war against their mysterious and equally inhuman adversaries. These winged beings, it seemed, were not only the architects of the pillars, but of this enigmatic place as well. And just as in the pillars' chamber, this shrine was adorned throughout with imagery of the Reaver, depicted with the reverence of a holy icon.
So Defiance really leans into mural-based storytelling, which is one of its weaknesses in my opinion. But there we go. Got that. Now we can get this. But Soul Reaver 2 has a really good balance. It has the murals. It shows some very cool, very cool things. But it expands the lore in many other ways too. Man, that guy just took forever to die. And so I feel like Soul Reaver 2 is a masterclass in how to expand the lore of a franchise. So a very cool solution to this puzzle, but it's not obvious at this point yet. So we'll just continue. Also, one thing you'll notice is that Soul Reaver 2 does not have constrict. Why? Because Raziel figured out he can just turn stuff. We're gonna go here first. Do a little bit of looking around. Let's go this way. Let's see. So we don't actually need to fight these guys. Not that I like getting smacked around, but clock's ticking. Got some climbable walls here. Here's our conduit. Okay, well that's our way up. Again, don't need to fight these guys, but ride that up. And get over to the other side. Taking that, thank you. All right, so now this is an easy one to get stuck on. So obviously we need to reflect the light somewhere. And we've got this obelisk here that wants us to do something, but we're missing an element. So if we look around a little bit, we see we have to go into first person. Reaver symbol up there. So power up a telekinesis projectile. We'll fire it off. Now, let's see what happens. Oh good, we still can do lazy style. And then the shadow is the key that solves the puzzle there, which is kind of the idea of the whole shrine here. Okay, speaking from experience, grab this thing. Don't fall down without grabbing it. Now, of course, when you're holding stuff, you can't glide, which makes sense. At least when you're holding stuff with 2 hands. And then this guy. Gonna go here. Now we'll flip this guy around. Okay. Oh, I saw something up on the wall there. And then you can still do your dash with the Reaver, but the timing is just a little different than it was in Soul Reaver 1. So it's X, wait just a second, and then hit square. The Reaver dash is incredibly useful. Get in my belly. But yeah, Slua, definitely tougher. Alright, we're gonna climb back up here. And see that mural? There's something missing. But it's trying to tell us something. First, let's open up whatever that is. There we go. So, just for fun, let's... I see that. A bridge has appeared in the mural. Hey, I'm trying to show people something here. Jerks. So rude of them to interrupt me while I'm trying to show you stuff. But now, that's a hint for our puzzle solution. This is another easy room to get stuck on if you miss that mural. And then we have this other obelisk here, which, as we remember from the last room, then turn the light disc here, and a shadow bridge. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Flip this guy around. And up we go. Nope. I can't lazy style this one, unfortunately. There we go. Ah, and here's the solution. To cast a shadow. Such a cool idea. And so much better than block
As I neared
puzzles.
the altar, I suddenly felt the Reaver quickening of its own volition. Just as in William's chapel, the balance of power tangibly shifted. Voracious and willful, the Soul Reaver was now in control, and I, merely its helpless puppet. The Reaver plunged itself into that mysterious altar, and devouring the energy that emanated from within, drained this place of its power. Thus sated, the Reaver released me, and I realized as I recovered control that these ancient shrines were forges, each purpose-built to enhance the Reaver with elemental power.
And there we go. There's our second Reaver Forge. Our first Reaver Forge for Soul Reaver 2.
Now I understood the purpose of the mysterious basins I had seen throughout my journey. They were elemental fonts, each attuned to a fundamental essence. When I forged the blade, every font in Nosgoth with the same elemental attunement was simultaneously quickened. The Reaver's enhancements were never permanent, but these fonts enabled me to re-imbue the blade by bathing it in the elemental energy distilled therein.
Okay, so there are three approaches to imbuing the Reaver, and I definitely have my preference. Soul Reaver 1, I think, did it best, where you could imbue the Reaver with fire by, well, waving it over some fire, which makes perfect sense. And I know that that was kind of the intention for the rest of the elemental Reavers that were cut from Soul Reaver 1, was that you would find things in the environment and use those to imbue the Reaver. Now, this one, they have fonts, which are just kind of scattered around in in tactically useful places for whatever it is you're going to be doing, which I wish it had been more in the environment. But whatever. I mean, it's still pretty good. And then in Defiance, well, you just pick the one that you want, which is okay, but not super compelling from a gameplay perspective. Yeah, I like the sound effect that the Dark Reaver makes.
Concentric circles, one eclipsing the other. I recognized this symbol from the door sealing that other ancient shrine, the one I had seen in the lake outside the Saraphan stronghold.
Oh yeah,
Perhaps
that
now,
one.
armed as I was with the elemental power of darkness, I could return and gain entry.
Another comment. I like the way that the Soul Reaver looks better in Soul Reaver 1 than I do in Soul Reaver 2. And I like the way that the Reaver looks in Defiance a little better, but I like the idea that it's more of a coiled energy sword that it emerges from his arm than something that he holds, you know? Okay, sad story coming up. The last time I tried to replay Soul Reaver 2 on PlayStation 2 was many, many years ago. But there was a bug. I went up to this door here after finishing the Dark Forge and it was already sealed. So that was the end of that playthrough. I didn't play again until this. Soul Reaver Remastered, not this today.
You're a ragged excuse for a savior.
Voridor!
Voridor. I see my reputation precedes me.
It does.
All good, I hope?
Rest in peace, Paul
I've been
Lukather.
watching
Such
you
an amazing
since you
actor.
emerged from that accursed stronghold. Strange that your arrival coincides with the corruption of the pillars. But I'm wondering, are you the catalyst of these events? Or the answer to them?
I don't know what you mean.
I will speak plainly then. I distrust your origin, stranger. Seeing you crawl from the putrid depths of Mobius's keep makes me question your purpose here. And what should I make of your appearance? Not human, clearly, and more demon than vampire. And the pillars. It is no mere coincidence that your arrival in that clearing heralded the pillars' decay. And so I ask you plainly, are you the instrument of the pillars' destruction or their salvation?
Neither.
Very well.
Skeptical Voridor.
Let us look at the other side of the coin. I have followed your journey and watched as you blithely unlocked secrets that have been sealed and forbidden for thousands of years. The path you have been treading is open to only one being. You don't know what you are, do you?
I have been many things. If you find me ignorant, enlighten me.
What's the point? This world is beyond redemption. Let the human cattle have it.
I would expect better than meek capitulation from you.
Centuries of persecution have taught me well. 500 years ago, our race was nearly exterminated by the fanatical crusades of the Saraphan. And now the same sick drama unfolds again. In merely a decade, Mobius's cutthroat citizen army has nearly accomplished what the Saraphan could not. Vampires meddling in the affairs of men. Look where it's brought us.
What am I to
He
make
said
of
that to
these
Kain in
secrets
Blood Omen
I've
1.
uncovered then? The depictions of the winged race, the pillars, and the Reaver.
Fairy tales, boy. The delusions of an ancient culture clinging to hope long after the world had discarded them. Their bloodline trickled away, until only one of the ancients remained, sustained solely by obligation and his unfaltering faith in the old prophecies. But you see, even if you are who you appear to be, it no longer matters. You're simply too late. Janos Audron, the Reaver Guardian, the last of the ancients, and my maker, was murdered by the Saraphan nearly 5 centuries ago. He alone would have the answers you seek, but his secrets died with him. I don't know how you've come even this far without his guidance, or without the Reaver, stolen these 500 years ago by the Saraphan. I'm afraid, my friend, that you and all of us are out of luck.
I had no less reason to trust Voridor than anyone else I had met. In fact, the ancient vampire was the most forthright being I had encountered thus far. If Janos Audron was the key to all this, then I would find him, and Mobius's time-streaming device would provide me passage. But first, I had to find a way back into the stronghold, and I suspected I would find the means within the lake's mysterious shrine.
Interview with the vampire. I love it. The trophy names in this are just delightful. I love them so much. Okay, so Voridor, our favorite. Well, my favorite, other than Kain, Raziel, and Janos. But no, it's always. I'm always excited to see Voridor. I think that he is, at least in this game and Defiance and Blood Omen, a great character. When we first meet him, he's this, pseudo-hedonist, as Kain calls him in Blood Omen 2. All of the trappings of wealth and decadence and everything that he likes to flaunt is a cover for an idealist who's deeply wounded for a being whose faith in the, everything that he was taught to believe he's found to be misplaced, and seeing great tragedy in the long years of his life, including in the beginning, which we'll talk about later on in Defiance. Anyway, he's also told us what we need to do next, which is also very, very kind and considerate of him. So let's move on.
Take the beast down.
No, thank you. All right, so we're going to head back to the Saraphan stronghold. And we're not going to do that today. We're not going to do the next part of the game today, but we are going to position ourselves. All right, now we're going to swim all the way back. For the Vampire Champion trophy, again, it's very, very, very good to memorize the layout of this this cavern, because this can be a little twisty. No benefit in fighting these guys at all. They don't have souls that you can feed on. Alright, let's go sass the Elder God again.
Ah, my wayward child returns.
Having unearthed more than you'd like, I suspect. What am I to make of these ruins that litter the land, and these images here in this chamber?
Merely the deceits of a failed civilization. You are being misled, Raziel. This ancient race hoped to manipulate the future with these scrawled misdirections.
Which ancient race, though, was doing that?
There are dark forces at work in this world, bent on subverting your true destiny.
I have no doubt of that. The question is, am I in their presence right now?
Your arrogance will spell your demise, Raziel. Deny my will, and the arc of your destiny will reach a sudden conclusion.
Your threats are unmoving. Even now, I'm beyond your reach.
My reach is longer than you realize. This is a very dangerous game you're playing, Raziel.
Yeah, backsassing the Elder God is not without consequence, but damn is it satisfying. I always get so proud of Raziel when he mouths off to the Elder God in this. Yep. But it's nice to be able to dodge slow-moving projectiles like that. Back to the pillars. Be a nice dramatic shot here. Nah, we don't have time to play around with photo mode. What am I thinking?
Get it.
Not interested. And again, it always helps to just be taking every shortcut that you possibly can, especially on this part of the track. Now, one thing that you need to know about for the Finish Him trophy is make sure that you, in the forges, you're using every unique weapon for sure, but make sure that you use every unique weapon before you leave an area, because you will not have a chance to go back and get them. Okay, another trophy that we can get. All right. This will be a lot easier. There we go. Oh, interesting. Is he blocking my projectiles with his projectiles? I guess that's only fair. Oh! Okay, let's knock him into the... Oh, no. Oh, fine. Next time. There is a trophy for making a human drown. So, next time we'll do that. Alright, but for now we're going to save. Let's see how we're doing time-wise. 120.43. Okay, looking pretty good. Next time, we're going to go with a light forge and see if we can't get to an area that doesn't suck so bad. I'm sure that's going to turn out just great. Thanks for watching, and if you like what you see and you want to see more, do the things.
Wow.